Eat it. Oxygen. While we Hey everyone, welcome back to the Grit Files. I'm Loralyn Mears, and our guest today is Chris Beck of Soberlink. And if you're thinking, that has something to do with sobriety, some kind of technology related to that, well, you'd be correct. He works within the family law division of the company, and it's quite the responsibility because in many of the legal cases, parents are fighting for the custody of a child, and one of the parents or both may have had some challenges with respect to managing their alcohol consumption. So Soberlink comes in to be able to track and demonstrate to the courts that the parent or parents are following guidelines related to sobriety so that they can, in fact, continue to have access to their children. Now, that's really heavy and a lot of stuff, but it's really important that we set the foundation for that because Chris has a very important role. So we want to dig in. Hey, Chris, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate being here.
Well, it's important work that you do, and we all understand the pain of being separated from our loved ones, particularly our children. And many of us can understand and appreciate the challenges around addiction, whether it be gambling, drugs, alcohol, or whatever it is. We are all human. We are fallible. And court systems and things need to be put in place to protect us and protect those around us, particularly minors. So I've got to ask, how does one get involved in a company like Soberlink and go, hey, this is a great place for me?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I fell into this a little bit through a friend who was the founder of the company and started this whole thing. We worked in our past lives in the golf industry. But when I started, I got into this kind of through where I was in my life. We were going through an adoption with a child that we had taken out of foster care. And when my friend introduced the technology and how it could really help those individuals, that are suffering from alcohol use disorder, I was like, wow, this is marrying up very well and aligning with our core values and my family's core values. I have to go forward with this. I mean, this is an opportunity for me to kind of have that passion project. So count me in.
Excellent. So maybe give our audience a little bit of an understanding as deep, with respect to the technology that you want to go, but to understand what does mobile sobriety technology really mean? Like, give us the inside scoop. Explain it as if we were children. Talk to us.
Sure. So the way I explain it is that it's a mobile way of documenting your sobriety from anywhere at any time. So the person that is administering the test actually blows into a breatholyzer that's about the size of 2 iPhones stacked together. They blow into this device. It uses facial recognition software to confirm their identity. And then that result, the identity confirmation and the BAC, are sent to the concerned parties, who's typically the ex or the other parent, in real time. So it's in 60 seconds. So they know that their child is being co-parented by a sober parent. And that's so important in these types of dynamics. And to have that peace of mind speaks volumes.
So it's like breathalyzer on demand, where anybody can know what's going on, right? Is that basically
that is a
net?
Simplified way? I couldn't have said it better, but very, very well said. Yes.
Excellent. Yeah. And then you can understand the importance of it. If I was thinking, well, if I'm the parent, well, I'm certainly not going to do the drop off or transfer tonight if the other parent comes in on the recording as being inebriated. Well, I don't want to put my child in that condition under those unsafe sorts of environments and potential exposure. And then you have, I guess, legal recourse to say, no, it's not your weekend, right?
That's right. We have 2 different programs that we offer: a level 1, which is only testing around their parenting time periods. And then we have a level 2, that's more of our treatment model, where you're testing on a schedule, typically 2 to 3 times per day. So that alleviates about 90% of the orders that are out there in the family law space.
And let's talk about addiction support too, because I would think that that's a critical element. It's one thing to be monitoring the sobriety of the adults that are enrolled in the program, either voluntarily or involuntarily as the result of a court mandate. But it's quite another thing to get into offering the support and services that they need to help them through their alcohol addiction. Can you talk to us about what services are available to people there?
Yeah, so most often when somebody comes to court and they have this issue with alcohol use disorder, the court will recommend a mental health professional or an addiction specialist get involved. And absolutely, we even recommend that at the beginning. And Soberlinks just acts as a tool to help facilitate and any treatment that has been given to reinforce that treatment that has been given.
Let's get into your side of the story now. So we've got a good understanding as to what mobile sobriety technology is and the potential applications with respect to huge legal ramifications, child custody, I mean, a whole slew of things related to personal lives. But let's talk about you. There's a gritty side to this, to all of it, and to everything that most of us have experienced as adults. And you said that you went through an adoption process yourself. Talk to us about the grittiest, grungiest thing that you had to scrape yourself through and how you got through it.
Sure. Well, in the state of California where we were adopting our child, before the adoption process even started, we got into this process for a reunification to try and help families reunify. So my wife and I were really passionate about taking a kid in if they needed the help, and then making sure that we could help the mother or the biological parents get back into that child's life. And, this is the first time I really saw what addiction can do. I had never seen it in my life. I never understood addiction until I saw it firsthand. And during these times, we had, scheduled supervised visitations that as soon as the biological parent would arrive, we would immediately have to cancel the visitation due to them not being sober. And that's when it gets really, really, as you would say, ugly. And it's just not a good place at all.
And that's heartbreaking. I can just imagine the child involved. The child wants to see the parent. No, guess what? Denied, because your parent has challenges with respect to their control and management of the substances that they consume and the volumes thereof. That's really hard to explain to a kid. It's got to be even just heartbreaking to watch as the adult, because you understand what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, the child was not communicative at that time through language, but we saw it through emotions. We saw it through the eyes of the child and how that child reacted when they got a glimpse. But then we had to end the parenting time, at that same point. And it hurt us as much as we felt it hurt the child, because we wanted this parent to have success. And I could only imagine, like, if I had Soberlink at that time, would it have been more successful? Because I didn't have knowledge and really an understanding of Soberlink at the time we were doing these visits. And I look back and just think, gosh, could I have been more helpful at that time, knowing that a technology like this maybe existed? I don't know. So I always look back and give me the what ifs.
So you're someone who tends to try to figure out, it's like, oh, could I do these things? Or would you consider yourself a regurgitator? You constantly repeat the history?
Yeah, I don't know. As our story kind of continues, mom had 2 more kids and still was unable to control her addictions. And, maybe fortunately or unfortunately, those kids had to be separated from biological mom. And now we have 3 more kids, which we love and adore, and will take care of for the rest of their lives. But, addiction is just super powerful, it's just hard to watch the destruction of a human because of addiction.
And self-destruction.
Yeah.
That's the hard part.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. And that's hard to work through, but it sounds like you've got great family support and beautiful children to be able to lean on to move you through those times.
Yeah, I mean, we try to find out where biological mom is, to see if she's going to ever be able to come back and be part of these kids' lives, because we do have an open adoption. We're mindful that we want to make sure that these kids know who their mom is once she sobers up and becomes, a an active part of society in a good way, and could be a mentor to our kids in the future. Then we will rekindle, hopefully, that relationship.
Well, keeping up with this same theme, one of the questions I like to ask my guests, even the most resilient, toughest, badass guests that we have, everybody has got some kryptonite. What's yours, Chris? What takes you out at the knees?
Gosh, I think it really is the look on these little innocent kids' faces and how much they can say without saying anything. I can't. I mean, we have our 2-year-old. She is just as cute as a button, but I can't say no to her. And yeah, that's my kryptonite.
There you go. Well, talk about also, as much as it's kryptonite, it's also fuel, right? You're aligned with your why. You know your purpose. You know what you're doing. You're making a difference in people's lives, children and their parents. And that's incredible. We need people like you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, my wife is incredible. I owe most of what I have learned and what has become a big value of mine. I actually owe it to her. She's been a great mentor and really led me in that direction and shown me how important it is to care.
Every good man owes it to a good woman. We all know this, right?
It's really hard to say sometimes. Okay, no, it is amazing. It is amazing. She's someone that is very supportive and she shares a lot of the things that she loves, and I'm able to, embrace that, and together we can do great things. So it's cool.
Doesn't matter what the gender is. We just all need that support system, that someone to lean on. Right? That's what it all comes down to. So let's move into some of the other things. So talking to us about some of the more interesting experiences that you've had in your career. What are some of those head scratching, like, I can't even believe this happened to me on my journey in career and suddenly I'm here? Talk to us about some of those head scratcher moments.
Gosh. Well, I just can't believe that I started out in my career being like this gun-ho, over the top, working almost 10 hours a day, trying to figure out, like, I'm going to be the best of the best, and wanting to be that next CEO or that next great leader in a company. And then I find that once I have a family of 5 kids, how my priorities change, how things just become a little bit more clear. Things have definitely, my ambition of being a C-level, person in our organization hasn't been as much a priority. I'm trying to find that balance with my career. And I find out how much happier I am when I'm able to give back a little bit.
And I can understand and appreciate the responsibilities and priority shifting when it comes to rearing 5 children. But I would also imagine that COVID has probably had some impact and a little bit of, opportunity, sort of cause for pause. And has that changed or shaped anything, or were you already there?
No, that's thrown a little bit of a wrench into everything. I think for our we have a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old, and they're pretty much COVID babies, I call them, because they just are getting out of COVID and they're just experiencing new things. And my 2-year-old still sees people for the first time, and she gets into this stare, and I'm like, yeah, you have to excuse her behavior at the moment, because she still hasn't seen a lot of people other than our family. So, COVID has definitely put a little bit of a spin on things, making friends and socializing. So we hope to get out and socialize a lot more in the near future. That's important to us.
Well, it takes time, yes. And nobody wants to have a child that goes, people.
Yeah.
What are people? Right? It seems so random.
Yeah. I never thought that would be an issue that I would have to deal with in my lifetime. But here we are.
No, I would think not. Well, That was a nice segue. I'm giving you an easy button right now. You get to hit it once. What are you going to undo, personally or professionally? One hit.
What am I going to undo in my life?
Yeah.
Well, I think I want to be a better father. I think that's the easy one. I think we can always strive to be better. As much as I feel like I've done some things that seem right from the outside, I still from the inside want to be a great dad. And it's a lot of work. It's so hard. People that say this comes easy to them, I don't know how they do it. Being a dad and a parent is the hardest thing that I've ever had to do. And to this day, it's still, I mean, I'm 47 years old and I have a lot of experience. I've almost, 14 years of changing diapers, and it still doesn't get any easier.
Even the modern technology, the diapers now, don't they just kind of like, I don't know, put themselves on and like stick and all the rest of that?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting, all the different dynamics and the different personalities that we have in our house, and the way you have to connect to each and every one of them individually has just been a huge undertaking, and I'm really not good at it. So every day I try and be better, but I will be the first one to say I am not the best father, but I try my hardest. But every day I try to make it better.
That's all that it takes, right? A for effort. And to all of those people who are saying, oh, yeah, parenting, it's just so easy. I mean, I talk to a lot of those people too with respect to being like startup founders. Oh, yeah, it's easy. I just work like a couple of hours a day. I say BS. There is absolutely no way. You're not telling the truth. There's no way.
It is super hard. Super hard.
Well, as we wind down our podcast here, what message do you want to share with maybe other fathers, messages maybe for people that are working through their challenges now with respect to alcohol addiction, startup founders, anybody? Who's your audience that you'd like to send a message to, and what would you like to tell them?
Well, I think from an entrepreneurial standpoint, I mean, I would just say be passionate about what you do. If you can be passionate and it's causal about what you are passionate about, success will come. I'm a big believer in that. And, I followed kind of that path of saying, hey, I want to align my professional life with what drives me in my private life. And together I'm doing okay. And I would just recommend, if there's an opportunity for you to see a path that aligns, take it.
Find your why. Right?
Yeah.
As Simon says, start with why. Right. That's
right.
where it goes. Yeah.
He's a good one.
He's amazing. So last question. Now this one's a little fun because we've had some hard topics to work through, and I can appreciate that may have been some sensitivities and triggers for our audience. Last question. This one's fun. If we got a peek into your closet and there was a pair of footwear, shoes, sandals, boots, whatever, that best personified who you, Chris Beck, are, what are we looking at? Describe that footwear and tell us why it's aligned with your personality and really typifies and represents the character that you are.
I think it's a pair of golf shoes. And these golf shoes are not your traditional like black and white, hardcore looking golf shoes that professionals wear. These are athletic golf shoes with, they look like I've been hiking in them. They're worn, they're used, but they're purposeful. And that's important to me. I want to make sure they're comfortable. I want to make sure there's a nice balance of comfort when I'm playing. Same in life. I want to make sure that they're purposeful in their execution and what they do. And that's important too. But, golf has always been a passion of mine that I draw from. It teaches me a lot of patience, a lot of maybe ways to concentrate and focus So that's always important because you have to take those times when you have a lot of distractions around you to focus and learn how to do that. So I think those golf shoes say a lot about, me and who I am. And I hope that was a good one. Good answer.
I love it. Well, in almost 150 episodes, no one's ever said golf shoes. So that's fun. And then, of course, it's sending me like, oh, maybe we could have a little quick conversation about live golf. But I know that's a bit of a hot potato. So we're going to avoid that one right now. And with that, we are going to wrap the show. So thank you so much, Chris Beck, VP of Family Law at Soberlink. Really appreciate you being on the Grit Files here today. And we wish you continued success, not only with the company and supporting all of those parents who really look to you to keep them connected with their children, but in your own journey in life, raising your children. Thank you so much for being on our show.
Thank you. Appreciate being here. You have a great one.
And how about that fantastic intro by Touch Circle?